Oh, frig me, that's tight. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome along to our latest walk around piece, and this time we've got for you a bit of a beast. It is Strautmann's latest Giga Vitesse R2 series Forage Wagon. Now, you may have seen this beast already in one of our other videos. So we had this behind Massey Ferguson's brand new 8S tractor, and now it is the turn of this beast, and we're going to find out a lot more about it. We're going to get an in-depth walk around from the man himself, Mr. David Mean from Oppico. So now, without further ado, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get behind the camera and we're going to fire a load of questions at him, and he's going to tell us all about it. Aren't you, David?
Yes, James.
So let's crack on with this new Giga Vitesse then. So before we get into the nitty gritty, just set the scene for us with the Giga Vitesse, because you've got your R1 series and now you've got your R2 series. So how do they all fit in?
Yeah, so the Giga Vitesse 01 and the 02 run side by side in our portfolio. So they sort of have on 01 series, we'll have a 3201, a 3601, a 4001 and a 4401. On the 02, we'll have exactly the same models apart from the 32, so we'll not have the 30 cube machine.
Right.
But apart from that, the sizes are the same. The biggest changes that we've got from an 01 to an 02 is really from the box forward.
Right.
So the box behind is very, very similar, apart from the flooring, but we've got a different drawbar on the 02. A far narrower, slimmer drawbar, so it gives you far more manoeuvrability round about farmyards, and you're not hitting the side of it, because the old 01 used to come at an angle.
Yeah.
And restricted turning circles. The other big part of it from the 02 is we've changed the driveline side of it. So the driveline on the PTO now comes with a short PTO shaft, with a support bearing in the middle, a universal drive shaft, and then a slip clutch driving into the main gearbox. The 01 was a one complete PTO shaft from gearbox to tractor. Okay, and does all that with the PTO and the slim drawbar, does all that add up to better manoeuvrability? Far better, because if we got the pivot point of our PTO shaft in an 02 here, the PTO shaft follows the drawbar. Right. If we done it on an 01, you've got a pivot point there and there, so the PTO shaft tends to trail across, so you can't cut in quite as much. Of course, so, yeah, absolutely. Apart from hitting the drawbar, you've obviously got the vulnerability of the PTO shaft, and so it keeps it far more contained in the shape of the drawbar. Ideal. So moving on from there, we've still got drawbar suspension, exactly the same as what we've got on the 01. The pickup is one of the big changes on it, so we now go from a 2 metre pickup on the 01 to a 2.25 metre pickup on the 02. Right. That also comes with a double roller crop press. Is that standard on the 02? On the 02, this is standard on the 02, yes, the double roller. If you go to an 01, it's usually just got a single roller, right, as a standard. Because on the 02, the 01, the Zelon, the Super, we always use our pickups without cam track, so none of our pickups have got a cam track. Right. So keeping that grass on the pickup is quite vital to the performance of the machine. When we move on to the actual pickup, difficult to see at the moment, but you can see, this is an option in an 02, so this is a new flex load pickup, which is just new to us this year. I was going to say, these look pretty different. Yeah, so Strautmann's totally went out of the box and designed something which nobody else has even thought of at the moment, and they've actually went to plastic tines. So these plastic tines are designed to go roundabout stones rather than flicking them out. Right. So they've got a lot of flexibility left and right. but they've got a bit more rigidity of the flow of the crop.
Yeah.
So it can always take everything in, but it's allowed to go around any objects on the ground rather than flicking stones up into the pickup. So massive improvement to what we had. We still use pickup tines as steel tines as a standard option for this O2. And on a standard, we would have plastic bands here instead of the steel ones. But no matter which pickup you use from us, we'll either have plastic tines and metal bands, or plastic bands and metal tines, so you never get metal to metal contact. So it's a very, very quiet running pickup. On this special design on the flex load, you don't even have to take a pickup band off to take a tine off. It's one screw, unscrew that screw, pickup tines off, new tine on, put that screw back in, you're ready to go.
And that's it.
So downtime is minimal. We don't get breaking of tines because they're designed to flex.
Yeah.
Where on a steel tine you would normally break off and then you would lose it, so that could end up going into the cattle feed because there's no metal detectors on a forage wagon.
Yep.
And unless you've got a metal detector on your actual diet feeder, you would possibly never see that until it was left
too late
on the row for the cows. So when they're trying to eat. But on this one, because of the tines are a slightly different shape, they're slightly fatter. We've actually had a stepped chevron design, so it's actually far better in shorter grass.
Right.
So rather than the grass getting mounted up in the middle and feeding itself to the outside, like rolling down,
outwards,
it'll take it in as it grabs it, but still continuously feeds it as a chevron.
Yeah.
So it works very, very well for us.
Clever.
So yeah, but that's brand new to Strautmann, standard on Magnon, option on O2. It's not an option on O1 at the moment. So moving on from the pickup, all our wagons since 2010, so right from Zelon, Super, Giga, Terra, and even Magnon, we go into the Cfs Roller. So the Cfs Roller is our continuous flow system. And that actually, because we've not got a cam track pickup, we don't have a dead space now with having this roller in.
Yeah.
So that feeds all the grass into your big rotor.
That literally keeps the crop flow going.
So that keeps it flowing. So we don't need to rely on crop to get it to the rotor. This is a driven roller, driven off the gearbox on the right hand side.
You're properly driving the crop rather than relying on the bulk of the crop to be forced in.
Exactly, because if you're on shorter grass, the bulk of the crop's not always there.
Yeah.
So if we can feed that into the rotor for the rotor to take it, we get far less horsepower requirement to get that grass into that rotor.
Right.
On the CFS side of it, another part of it, they've got the spiral round bar welded round it. So another feature of this, rather than just being a roller to feed the rotor, is it actually spreads the crop to the left and the right.
Right.
So if you've got a narrower swath, it will design to get that swath to the outsides. That's what it's designed to do, to spread it. The reason to do that is if we can spread it out as far as we can on the pickup, on an O2 we've also got the augers on the side which also feeds it back in to the side of the conveying unit. So by doing that, we actually get an even mat of grass going through the knives. So we're not getting all the pressure going into the centre knives and not on the outside. We're actually getting a very consistent and even mat of grass going through the knives, giving us a far more consistent chop and even spread of weight over the whole.
Right, and will that affect knife wear and things like that?
100%. If you had all the grass going in the centre and not so much going on the outside, what I've seen people do on other machines is they will take the outer blades and put them on the inside blades to get equal wear before they change or sharpen the blades.
That's swapping your tyres around from corner to corner.
We don't usually do it. Yes, you'll get a slight bit less wear on the outside on these, but nothing compared to what it would have been.